I'm Jacob Hunter. I'm one of the leads with advertising here on the US side, and I'm excited to get to be with you all today. There was a lot of great content that was shared before, and so I want to definitely make sure that the team is giving some great information, and we kind of highlight some of the great things that were coming in before. So let me jump in and start kind of talking a little bit about what our agenda is today. And our agenda here today is really, I want to talk a little bit about promoted listings and just talk a little bit about the different ways that you can promote. I want to talk a little bit about our dashboard and what is happening within the eBay advertising dashboard and Seller Hub, and kind of highlight a few of the things that was called out in the main session. And also talk about some of the great stuff that Brandy explained within our holiday success. And all the different things you can find over at ebayadvertising.com, where you can get the full readouts. And so let's talk a little bit about promotions and how we can make promoted listings even simpler for you. We did a refresh of our advertising dashboard, and within the advertising dashboard now, I want to show you what the new Create a Campaign system looks like. You can see here on the screen that we actually have taken kind of some of the complexity of showing everything at once and made it a little simpler for you. You actually work on a button radial system where you talk about, what do I want to do? I want to promote my listings. I want to showcase my store. I want to do things off of eBay and move offsite over, which I'll talk about those products in just a second. But we have those all available there. Once you click on that, it goes on a step-by-step function. It continues to show you what you need to do as far as your selection process. Makes it very clear. I love the way that it's set up now. And so I just want you to know that if you ever have gone in there, gotten nervous about how complicated something may look, we're there for you. We want to make sure that you have the information you need. All of these different spots on the site also have informational buttons you can click on that will give you more information if you're curious. So let's talk about what advertising options are available to you. Within eBay, we have 3 different products: our promoted listings suite, as well as promoted stores and promoted offsite. I'm just going to quickly talk about each one. This is very much a high-level view. I definitely recommend that you utilize our resources on the site to find out the information about each of these. So the first thing with promoted listings, this is the product that has been around the longest, and I think this is what a lot of people know the most. And that is the ability to go in and take your items and get more visibility within eBay, whether that be through our promoted listings general, which is a cost per acquisition model. In other words, saying I'm willing to give an extra percentage of the sale if the advertising leads me to a sale within that system. It's a great way to partner and a great way for you to utilize the system. We also have our promoted listings priority, which is on a cost per click basis, which is a great way to get into, again, those priority or very premium locations with your inventory on a cost per click basis. Also, we have promoted stores. Maybe you might want to get more interaction or more items available to you through your store, or get more availability for people to see your storefront. This is another opportunity that shows up on eBay. It gives you the opportunity to get people to your store. Another thing that is really exciting, and you heard Tracy talk about this within the main session, is promoted offsite. Promoted offsite is a cost per click model as well. This model is designed to, hey, eBay, I want to get more visibility for my items off of eBay, pulling to eBay. This is through different methods such as Google or other partner networks that eBay works with. What happens is that you will go in and say, I have a budget that I'd like to utilize. What happens is that we go and we'll take your inventory that already is being indexed and marketed by eBay on the World Wide Web and put additional your budget toward getting your listings and traffic over to eBay. This is new eyes, additional eyes. It's a great way to get more more buyers looking at your items. What happens when we see that, we see the growth. We see that this is something that's working, and we see that when you utilize these different channels, including promoted offsite, we see an increase in sales. And the biggest thing that is so exciting is that utilizing these different tools is a really great way to get the extra impressions and eyes. We want those eyes on your items, which then leads to additional clicks, which then leads to additional sales. As the stat shows here, we see an additional 25% increase when people are utilizing that promoted offsite. So just what Tracy was talking about within the stage, you can see that that is something that's happening as well. And so it's really exciting to see. I want to talk a little bit about what we've done within our actual UI to really help and give you information. eBay has a wealth of information underneath the hood of what we're realizing is working, what's working well, and what we think people should be utilizing. And we're bringing those insights and that information to the forefront of your eBay advertising dashboard. And so just a quick example here, I want to show what this screen looks like when you first go into the eBay advertising dashboard. First and foremost, I'll quickly call out that eBay advertising many times has different promotions or opportunities that we want you to test things out. And that you can see on the screenshot that I've got here, there's an offer at the top giving a discount. Check the eBay advertising dashboard for those discounts, because definitely we want you to take advantage when they're available. The other thing that's exciting is we have recommendations. We've gone in and we look at what's happening with your advertising, and we see, hey, we realize that there are some tweaks that can be made to optimize. And we're showcasing some of those right at the top. You can hop in every day and we will use our information to show you what is happening within that advertising tab, the great information on your recommendations. And so I love this feature because this means that maybe I don't have all day to optimize all of my campaigns or optimize every single one of my pieces within eBay, but eBay will do that work for you, do that extra energy. Then all you have to do is review it and activate, which is really exciting to see. We also, on top of giving you recommendations on what is already existing within as far as optimizations to your active campaigns, we're giving you recommendations for campaigns that you can do. So as it says at the top here, we see the trends. We see that obviously, as we get closer into the colder seasons, we're going to have things that are going to be more impactful, or things that are going to have a larger trend on the site. And we want you to advertise and take advantage of those additional eyes on those items. And so we will have built out campaigns for you to review that says, hey, we know that these items are getting additional eyes right now. This is a way for you to make sure your items are the ones getting this. This is just if you scroll a little bit further down within the eBay advertising tab of Seller Hub. Another example of the type of campaigns we'll show you is we have something already pre-built and available to you. We'll see, hey, here's items that are currently not utilizing advertising that we find there's going to be an impact. This is going to be a good opportunity for you to get those additional eyes. And so it's pre-built. All you have to do is, again, you can see that blue button on the right, jump in and review campaigns. And so it's a great way for you to jump in and see some of the great different opportunities that eBay has already figured out for you. Again, saving you that time and energy that you really need when you are doing it. We still love, if you love to jump in and manually adjust things and build them yourselves, all of that is still available. And we love if that's what you love. We just know that not everyone has that ability to do that. And so that's why we have now started building some of these pre-made campaigns and opportunities for you. I'll quickly call out that, when you are listing on using some of our different suggested campaigns, we're seeing the increase. We're seeing people seeing over a third of growth in their sales. 35% plus is just such an amazing thing to see. So we know it works. And we're excited to take all those insights and have those things built out for you already. Let me jump over and talk a little bit about suggested campaigns. Again, suggested campaigns is saying, hey, we've already identified and see this here. And I'm seeing in chat people giving mixed statements on that. Some of them see some of these campaigns, some don't. To be honest, it's one of those things that it does not apply for everyone. Sometimes, the information says there isn't one that's there for you. One of the things about suggested campaigns that I love is that we're only suggesting when it makes sense. We're not just going to blindly say you need to advertise every single thing, every single time at every max rate. Instead, we utilize where does it make sense, and then we activate accordingly. you can see from our testimonials that we show here, people are seeing the results and it's working. And to answer some of the things I'm seeing in chat, this isn't just for the mega sellers or for the smallest sellers. It's really an open question of, does advertising make sense for you? It's an open dialogue of, when you advertise, you will get additional impressions. Those additional impressions are going to help you then actually get more clicks. Those additional clicks then lead to sales. But it's an open question of, do we want that velocity? Do we have that, ability to handle, the extra, hits that are hitting there? And then it's also an open question of, is those extra impressions going to help? And so, because one of the things that, as we all know with eBay, it's an open marketplace. And so do we have the items that people are looking for? And do we have ourselves in a competitive stance to be able to have it work? Because really the way I look at advertising is we're just a magnifying glass that's available for your listings. And we make it so more people are going to see and understand and see your listings. Does that help? Does that make sense? And frankly, if your listing was going to sell, advertising helps it sell faster and many times more. And then the open question is, if it wasn't going to sell, then it doesn't. Luckily, through some of our different models, that can either be, where if you're going by if you're going just by the cost per sale model, then it's going to be in a system where you're going to only have to pay when it works. And therefore, it mitigates risk. Or if you want to, again, be more strategic, you can jump in and do some of our different cost per sale activity there. I'll quickly call out before I jump into Q&A, highlighting what Brandy showed when it came to our holiday readouts that we've done. Again, you can go and get the full readouts over at ebayadvertising.com. But the thing that I find most interesting is many times people think of an advertisement as something you skip, or I'm on the YouTube video and I'm going to press skip as soon as that option pops up. But what we're really finding when it comes to advertising, when it comes to people activating on marketplaces, that people are okay clicking the ad. What they want to do is click on what makes sense and what is going to be a good opportunity or a good buy for them. And we're finding that advertising is really getting smart at identifying the right things for people. And that's what eBay does. We utilize our best match algorithm plus your advertising to decide where you should be. And so our goal is on every search to have not only your advertising and organic make sense for that buyer. And so we're really finding that people are okay as long as it's something that makes sense and it's going to be a good fit for them. And so it's really exciting to see that. And so let me jump over and kind of call out some things that I'm going to see in chat, as well as jump into some of the different Q&A that we have that is popping up. I'm going to quickly call out a couple of the things that I've just been seeing in chat as things have been going through. Let's talk about what ads is specifically doing. Every time you go in and look at advertising, your listings already have a organic score. How well should this item appear on eBay against specific searches? So let's say that I have this, this hoodie that I have here. I'm selling it on eBay. If I'm doing that and I put my information in as far as my title, description, pictures, everything, pricing, and when someone searches for an eBay hoodie, I'm going to have a specific score or a rank against that piece. Promoted will then, if I go in and advertise, it says, hey, wherever I organically show up now, I want to boost. I want to be able to show up and unlock additional places on the site. So this isn't just a search discussion. We have advertising that appears within promoted listings on checkout, on your cart, on the homepage, several locations all across eBay, including ranked higher in search. And the idea is that I think that my hoodie here deserves to show up because I have a great offering. Advertising will get more eyes upon that because of your boost there. And so I hope that helps a little bit in kind of setting some of the stage and some of the questions that I'm seeing people ask as far as how it works. And so let me jump over and look at a couple. I see people are kind of already getting some answers. But one of the things that I'm seeing several questions about is, how much should I be bidding? What should I be doing? I see a great question here from Parker about, should we be increasing for the holiday? And to be honest, again, I'm going to kind of give a little bit of a mixed answer. First off, the answer is yes. If it's one of the things that, hey, there's more traffic available on the site during the holiday peak times. And I definitely recommend that you take advantage of that. and others do as well. So it is a slightly more competitive landscape during the holiday. And so if you want to take advantage and get that, it is going to require an increase. Now, that being said, it's an open question that I always recommend you go into your advertising tab and take a look at your results. We show you how many impressions are you getting, how many clicks are you getting, how many sales are you getting due to advertising. And I definitely recommend that you review that and find where is your sweet spot. Where is the spot that I'm getting a good amount of exposure to my listings, and then that I feel in a good spot. Because yes, obviously you can increase and that'll increase the impressions, but it's an open question of should you say, hey, I want to get more sitting here against this piece. And so I hope that helps answer a little bit there. Let me jump over. It looks like I see some questions on Promoted Offsite. So one of the things that people are asking about is how does Promoted Offsite work with what's called a learning period? And one of the things that Promoted Offsite does is that, again, we're partnering with Google and all our partners to showcase your listings. We send a feed to those partners and we try and see how they're picking it up. So in other words, for some things, it may need to be, hey, you don't need to have a very large max budget and you are showing up. And they were in that learning period finds that, hey, you're there. On the flip side, though, sometimes you're in a competitive category. I'll give the example of cell phones. Cell phones, there are a lot of people that are selling cell phones, and how cell phones work is we're selling the same iPhone. And so because of that, it's a little bit more competitive. It's a little bit more that, hey, if you want to be showing up on our Google Shopping or the other places that we show up with Promoted Offsite, you may need to be a little bit larger or a little bit higher with your budgets. Early on, when you submit in, we go through a learning period of you're not going to see a lot of activity early because we're testing the waters to see if it's working. And then we come back to you and you can see there's recommendations. Again, back to that recommendations that pops up in our system and says, hey, we recommend that this budget needs to go up, or we recommend you're at a good spot and you're actually already working, you start seeing results. But usually it takes a little bit of time when you first launch that campaign to start seeing results come in. So definitely if you see when you go into Promoted Offsite and see it's a learning period, that means that it's still working on it and it's really trying to figure out how that piece is working. So let me jump over to a question here I see from Cindy. And so it's talking about, what happening with more sales, right? And so your question is on your kind of return on advertising. What's really going to happen? And that depends on every seller's margin. Some sellers have very tight margins. And so because of that, there's not the ability to advertise, or at least advertise very aggressively. And we understand that. I think it's important to note that it's the goal of eBay for everyone to have a win-win. Our marketplace is not designed to, hey, I would like it if you don't make any money and then eBay makes some money. No, that's not the system or the build or the way that we're built. We're built where we don't carry inventory as eBay. We rely on you as the sellers. You're our lifeblood that provides that inventory to eBay. And so because of that, if you do have those high margins, then yes, when you advertise and you see that increase in sales, you're going to see a great ROI out of it, right? Because you have those margins that exist. And so you're able to, yes, spend into the margins, but get more velocity. Because you have, let's say, excess inventory or additional inventory. The way I think of advertising is really how fast do you want to have the turnaround on your inventory go? Do I want to have, again, more eyes or not? And it's an open question. I don't think, Cindy, that the answer is always just like yes, 35% more sales equals great. It's more of a 35% of sales is great if you have that inventory, if it makes sense and you want to, and you have those margins. All those things still need to line up, a little bit here for that to make sense. So, Rachel, looks like I see you popping in with some questions here on, about impressions and kind of some of the things I'm calling out. Let me quickly define how eBay defines these different kind of main points of your listings. When you create a listing, it starts receiving impressions, or in other words, did the item show up on the screen? That's an impression. Once an item has had an impression, the next step is, did someone click on it? And that's what we define as clicks. And then from there, once someone is in your listing, did the item convert? Or in other words, did a sale happen? We show all three of these metrics inside of your advertising dashboard for very specific reasons. We want you to see, hey, is my item showing up enough? Is it just an option for someone to click on? And if it's not, then that's where we may need to look at advertising as an additional way, or let's make sure that we have really strong listings that are following all the best practices that many of you know so well, having great titles, great pricing, great pictures, great item specifics and descriptions, all those things that you're currently doing, coupled with advertising to get those impressions. Then the open question is, now I'm being seen on the screen. The impressions are happening. Are people clicking on me? And if they're not, then that's a situation we need to identify and look at the competition, shop ourselves out and say, hey, when I'm showing up in those slots on search, why are people clicking the other items and not mine? Right. And that's something that we can, you can do, yourself when you're shopping, or even have others do it for you and give their opinions. But once we know we're getting clicks, we're getting people into the listing, are we convincing them enough to convert? In other words, is what they're seeing appetizing enough for them? And that's, again, are we following all those different best practices? I have a great title. I have a great description that's talking about me. Am I following what the people are interested in? Because sometimes, and it depends on the category. There's certain categories where it's not going to make any sense to run free shipping. But also there's categories where people exclusively shop free shipping. And so it's those open questions of, hey, when I'm comparing myself against those competitors that are right next to me, are they offering something I'm not? Or am I offering something they're not? And that's why they're not getting the clicks and I am, right? That's kind of how I would say to evaluate yourself on the impressions, clicks, sales, and what area should I focus on? And again, all of those pieces are available within the advertising dashboard for you. And so let's see here. Let me look at a couple other questions that are coming in. I see some questions here kind of on some of the basic, how our models work. In other words, what is cost per attribution? What is cost per click? And so in other words, our cost per attribution model, or promoted listings general, showcases you on the site. And then if the sale comes through advertising, you pay a percentage extra of your total sale. Cost per click does not take a percentage of your total sale. Instead, it costs on every time someone sees you and then clicks on you, not just an impression, but if they click on your actual advertisement, and there's a cost for every time that happens. For unique users, I'll call out that I cannot jump in, click your item 100 times, and then you have let's say you were bidding at a 10 cent, against that. You're going to have 100 times 10 cents just because of me. No, it's going to be set up as the unique users that are hitting and clicking on your specific items. So let's see. I hope that helps a little bit, explains a little bit about those different ways that the cost model works there. Let's see. I'm seeing some questions where people are calling out, hey, I have, I do have a store, or I'm interested in Promoted Offsite, but that's not popping up for me. Let me explain that actually can be sometimes, depending on the account that you have or how long you've been on eBay, or kind of different selling levels. You may not have those immediately pop up or be available to you. We are, when it comes to both Promoted Offsite and Promoted Stores, they are relatively newer products. And because they're newer products, they're not available for everyone. Now, it is our goal that at some point rolls out to everyone, and everyone has the ability to promote both offsite and stores, but it's not quite available for everyone. So it's something to keep checking in, keep watching. But eBay, when it comes to any time we roll out a product, it doesn't just go out to every single seller immediately. We try to do as very much as possible, but there are, some kinds of different rollings and waves in which these things come out. And so just continue to watch that. I think I see that from you, Eric. You're asking about stores. I saw a few others ask about offsite there. And so let's see here. Let me look at another one. Okay, so it looks like I have a few people asking a little bit about more on offsite. And let's see. I think we talked a little bit already about the learning period, but I think people are kind of a little more curious about how that kind of works or what the system is. And again, you just go in and set up a very specific daily budget that you'd like to have set up against the system. Once you have that daily budget in, we will take a feed of all of your listings and apply that into, again, Google and the other partners that we work on. It will then take that information and again, go through a little bit of a learning process to see how it hits and how it fits. And then once we feel we have an optimized build for how to best utilize your budget within our offsite platform, it then activates against it. And you'll again see all the reporting as far as how many times you had those different impressions, clicks, and sales that came through the offsite site as well. And again, the way to think of it is just additional traffic that's not currently on eBay that sees your items through different methods, such as Google Shopping is one of the best ones to kind of see that. So whether or not it makes sense to do a cost per click model, or whether or not it makes sense to do more of this cost for attribution model. And that's the reason why we offer both. It is not, it's set up in a world where everything makes sense for everyone. It really is what's going to make the most sense for you. Because we do have people that have very targeted, specific keywords that they know this is very valuable and that I want to show up specifically against these. That's a lot of how our promoted listings priority or cost per click system works. You can be very, directly targeted and know exactly what you want to go after. Many people that are selling in multi-marketplaces, or people that are selling, maybe through their own website, are very familiar with this, because this is most of your industry standard, is to see this across Google and other places. But one of the things that I do love is eBay's attribution model of cost per acquisition. In other words, our cost per sale model. It takes like a lot of that risk away, and it says, hey, yes, there is that percentage basis, but maybe that makes sense for you and to run it that way. Or maybe it makes sense that that specific click is really valuable to me. And a good example I will give is, let's take like trading cards. So, trading cards come in all different shapes and sizes. We have cards that are worth $1, and you have cards that are worth thousands of dollars. Well, on the cost per acquisition model, paying, 5% of my $5 card, I'm not paying that much. But paying 5% on a $10,000 card, that could add up quite a bit. And therefore, perhaps on that $10,000 card, I'm going to run a specific, again, with all the budget allocations available to you, you can decide how big a budget you want to have on a daily basis, a cost per click advertising model. Because that way, hey, I'm going to just go after some very specific clicks, after some very specific, targeted audience that is doing that. I hope that makes sense. It kind of gives you a little bit of an idea there when it comes to how sometimes some of those different advertising models make more sense than others, right? And so I see here people asking questions on like, well, how do I see that reporting? How do I know kind of like what's happening? When you are within Seller Hub, definitely always hop in, and you're going to see you're going to see your overall dashboard. Your overall dashboard, you can actually click between the different products, and you can see what's happening with my promoted listings general, what's happening with my promoted listings priority, or my promoted offsite, and it will give you the specifics around what's happening in that product. You can also even go down to a campaign level, and you can say, hey, I want to see specifically I'm advertising this inventory in this way. I'm going to click on it and get just an individual readout on the campaign level. It gives me, the information that comes there. I hope that gives you a little bit more clarification there on that piece. So again, I want to say thank you to everyone. I know, everyone's time is extremely precious and valuable. And so I really appreciate you spending the time and meeting with me and walking through these different pieces. Again, I'll just quickly call out, please go take advantage of our holiday insights at the ebayadvertising.com and go look at some of those information. And then please also feel free, again, everything within our advertising dashboard has all kinds of great links and notes where you can double click into all of these different points. So if what I talked about, maybe you don't have a specific answer, or there's more information that you want on your account, go in and click those individual informational buttons about it, so you can learn more about creating a campaign, more about reporting against campaigns, what we're able to show, and all those things. I really appreciate everybody here, and I hope that you all have a wonderful holiday season, and the advertising and our partnership together leads to great results there. And with that, I'll let you all go, and thank you so much for the time.